Turn off my phone first.
Yeah, do that.
I don't want to be like Gord.
Call the meeting order at 5:04. Adoption of the agenda. Is there any additions? No?
Sorry, that's my heat. I'll move the agenda be adopted as presented.
Accept the motion. All in favor? So passed. The adoption of minutes for the July 6th, 2022 meeting. Any errors or omissions or anything?
Standard.
No.
Make a motion to move the minutes of July 6th, 2022 as presented.
Accept the motion. Call the question. All in favor? So passed. That brings us into 5.1. Subdivision Application 2022 SU B07.
So that's me. The proposed subdivision application is to create a small agriculture holding of 13.9 acres from a 157.98 acre parcel on the northeast 1062-6 west of 5. It is zoned A1, and the proposed parcel conforms to the requirements of subsection 3C and 5C as the small agriculture holding and parcel and meets the density provisions of this quarter section, bringing it to 2. There were no comments from infrastructure as there are already existing approaches on the remainder and the proposed parcel per our design guidelines and construction standards. A variety of private on-sewage disposal. There is an existing septic system on the proposed parcel and will require a septic inspection by a provincially accredited agency. And will not require soil classification testing. No. Water table testing is not required as the proposed parcel is over 10 acres in size and stormwater management plan is not required. A water availability study is also not required as the density is not over 5 parcels per quarter section. It was, letters were sent to adjacent landowners and there were no letters of concern received. It was also referred to multiple agencies listed here and there were no objections received. There is no MR required as it is the first parcel out of a quarter section. And it is my recommendation that the Municipal Planning Commission consider approval of subdivision application number 2022 SUB07 in consideration for the following reasons. And would anyone like me to read those reasons?
I'm good.
I think we're good.
Great.
Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I through the chair to, what are the rules around contamination? I'm very familiar with this piece of property. And it was previously owned by Trident Exploration.
Okay.
And I don't know if there's been any testing done for the chemicals and things that would have been on that property. And I don't know whether, when you push this further down the road, whether you lose that knowledge. So it was their storage yard, and they had some pretty nasty stuff there. So I don't know how that would affect the decision we make here. Because I'm looking down the road, if that property is sold, it would possibly be sold to somebody who doesn't know its history. There's 2 other on the on the property as well, there were, I believe, two batteries as well on the other parcel. At some point in time, that was, I think that, I don't even know if they're all gone yet. I haven't been by there recently, but
When you say the other parcel, do you mean the?
the 157
Right, the
acre
remainder.
parcel.
On the
Yeah.
remainder, yeah.
There's two, there was, I think it was you called it the Corbett site there, so.
So was this originally, was this originally a farm that became a
It was a
storage yard?
farm, it
Now
was
it's
a
going back.
farm, and Trident bought it from the landowner because there were two locations where they pipelined everything into. And then they purchased, they had the office actually in the house there.
Okay.
And then their storage yard, and it was not what you would call the most well taken care of storage yard. So I don't know how that would affect it, but
And
just so the knowledge is there.
through the chair to Mr. Kilpin, we don't have any record on file of there being any reported spills through Alberta Environment and Parks or any contamination, so it's difficult for us to make that determination. And short of caveating the property, you know, that testing be done to see if there is, that would be our only means.
Yeah, and I don't know whether there was ever a plan for where they had their storage facilities, but that would be, that was, usually is a requirement, but
You would think there would be reclamation or something done by them, but they did just leave.
And it would be a different, it's outside of what our scope would be. It would have been
Okay.
done through Alberta Environment and Parks, but
okay.
like I say, we don't have any record of it other than that it was being used for that purpose, I guess, of storage by Trident.
So normally it would go through reclamation, but if they went under,
Well, it's historically a problem there because those of us who worked in those fields know that there were spills that, and on that particular property, I would not know that. But there are some properties where I know where there were spills and they were never reported, so.
Wouldn't that go through like the people buying the property, if they're financing it, the finance company would want to,
Yeah, and we often will get requests to check our records to see if there's been any, I guess, reported spills or what the uses were at the time. But generally, yeah, it's if either the solicitor will ask those questions, but again, if they're aware, right? Yeah,
I don't believe that the present landowners would be aware of that. They bought the property as property through the receiver, so they would not be
Right.
aware of that.
Okay.
John, you can take over here as soon as we get this one.
Sure.
So is
So don't get
there any more
too-
questions on this?
As a, through the chair, I mean, I understand, you know, the issues there that could be with the soil testing and stuff, but unfortunately that's out of scope for what we have going on here with the development, or this, application. And, you know, we have nothing on record to, you know, go against. I know I'm not disputing whatever is there, but for this, I'm gonna make the motion that the proposed subdivision application to create one small agricultural holding parcel, 13.9 plus or minus acres, from 157.98 acre parcel on the northeast 1062-6 west of the 5th meridian from an A1 parcel.
Okay, accept the motion. Any questions relating to the motion? I see none, I'll call the question, all in favor? So passed. Note that at 5:13, Reed Burrows will take over the chair.
What have you got next on the agenda here? Because I've got to get this iPad locked into my
6.1.
6.1. There we go. Okay. My apologies.
No problem.
Let's see if this will come together. Okay, so 6.1 is a home occupation major and accessory building addition and storage compound. You wanna take us through this, Peter?
Yeah, I will. The applicant is here in attendance. He owns, Jim over here, you can step forward. He owns a 4.99 acre parcel with legal description of Plan 082-8835, Block 3, Lot 4, and an adjoining 5.86 acre parcel with the legal description of Plan 082-8835, Block 3, Lot 6, which is part of Southeast 255913 west of the 5th. The application is for 2 permitted uses, the home occupation major, RV repair business, accessory building shop, which is just an addition, and then a discretionary use storage compound with a variance for larger than 2% parcel size. The application is for a RV repair, rebuild, service, and parts business on 2 parcels owned by the applicant with future consolidation required. There will be an addition to an existing shop that will be used for more of business administration and parts, as well as a storage compound to be used to store trailers over the winter months while they are being worked on. There will be 1 access used for the business aspect and 1 for the personal residential access. Both are existing. It is zoned CRB, Country Residential Business District, and home occupation major is a permitted use. And I don't think we need to grant variance on the shop size. That must be an error. And it was referred to Woodlands Infrastructure Department, which did not have concerns, just had notes about the no parking on the street, and it was referred to the town who was against it, and it was there was a letter of concern received from an adjacent landowner, also opposed to this development permit. It was sent out to all adjacent landowners, and I'm realizing now that there's a lot of, this must be the wrong version that Brenda put in.
Oh, maybe.
The application, it's a discretionary use is the RV, is the storage business, storage compound, and it was advertised as a permitted use, and the storage compound was advertised as a discretionary use in the local papers. Letters were sent to adjacent landowners outlining the development permit, and 2 letters of concern were received. And I guess we'll just go to, it is my recommendation that the Municipal Planning Commission approve development permit 1551-2022 for the home occupation major RV repair business, accessory building addition, and storage compound with size variance with the following conditions. There's a long list, 30. Would you like me to read them?
Anyone need the conditions read, or have you read the conditions?
I've read through them all.
Okay. Anyone wish to have them read? I don't see any hands. Do we have anyone online?
No.
Okay. No, there's no reason to read the conditions. Does anyone wish to ask questions of the men on this?
Is there currently living there? Like, is there a home, mobile home?
Yes, on the, I wanna call it the Hanson
The
property.
southwest
Yeah,
property lot
there's a residence there that we're rebuilding.
6.
You're rebuilding, what does that mean?
Well, we've torn all the insulation, lady had passed away in there when there, so we had to get to remodel it, I
You're
guess,
renovating.
with permits, yeah. And then the two parcels will be adjoined within the next, 4 years, I think it is. It'll be one parcel.
Councilor Prestige.
Through the chair to administration. Could you explain what CRB is? And what type of businesses can be there?
Okay, so through the chair to Councillor Prestige, the Country Residential Business District was essentially established a few years ago for the purpose of allowing people to live and work, so to speak. So we had an influx of applicants as far as trucking firms in this instance. So we have a set of permitted uses in which we've described under our definitions as home occupation, minor and major. So that could be anything from an accountant to a hairdresser, to pilot trucks, to pilot trucks, commercial uses, smaller commercial uses. We got small animal breeding and boarding. And then, of course, we have our transport contractor business, major and minor, which includes your gravel trucks, your log trucks, your larger vehicles. And then we have our transport contractor repair business, which is essentially defined as, again, someone that would do mechanical work. And then we have under discretionary those uses which are, in the opinion, similar to. So in this instance, Mr. Stocks is looking at RV repair. So that would fit under the definition of the transport contractor repair business. And then the storage compound, of course, is a discretionary use.
Might I just add, that storage is really basically a place to have them over the winter when the snow is there. I can't really ask people to take their units when they got no place to put them in their, in their driveway and snow and all that, so.
So how many units are we approving for in the storage area?
It is, I believe I had the size up to 1 acre of the 10 is what I put. 10% is what I defined it as. It's on, there should be a site plan sort of attached, which is just behind here, and it's much smaller than 1 acre, but it's larger than 2%. It was like 2.5%.
So what page is that in the package?
It's just after the application. I don't have the numbers here. Oh, 27.
Page 27, yeah.
27.
It is in behind an existing structure.
I am apparently not logged into this because I only have 20 pages.
I have two.
That's why I was 20 pages.
Pardon? This, just for this one thing? Oh, then it would be page like 4,
It's page 3.
3.
Page 3?
14, number 14.
I'm on page 27.
Ours is different.
Me too.
So, I'm good.
You have a page 27.
Yeah, I do.
So you have
Well-
27 out of how many pages have you got? in the whole
116.
116.
116.
Sorry,
116.
in the whole package.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole pack.
Right, but if this,
That item, it's page, what did, 3?
23.
You're asking for the 10% value, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm asking for the, like,
The picture.
Picture. Oh, the picture.
It should be the first one after the application.
and then, trying to remember my,
Okay, there it is.
Page 7, John.
any other questions? Go ahead.
Through the chair to the
Sure.
applicant, so where all those trailers are parked right now,
Yeah, they're actually behind there's a Quonset on the first parcel,
Yeah.
Those are actually Brinkman and Associates, the tree planters. They come in every season. They come in May, and then they take their trailers in May and then bring them back at the end of August or somewhere in August, depending on their tree planting. And then we work on them over the winter and set them up and get them all ready to go for the following year.
So I drove past there today, so where those trailers are parked is pretty much the size that,
That's pretty much it, other than on the other side where the shop is, just the gravel area, when people drop their trailer off, right? Then when they can be there, get worked on,
the storage area, the 10% or 2% or whatever it is.
if that, yeah, it's 60 by 100. I think it's about
That's what-
120 feet.
That's what the application is saying, you only get that area.
Yeah, which is, so what you're saying is in front of the shop, that's the only place that I can have people park their trailers until I work on
Well,
it?
it's for storage.
Oh, yes, I don't want any more storage.
Okay.
What about my personal thing, like my own trailer and that? That's not considered part of the storage, or is it?
No, and the land use bylaw, as a person, you can actually have up to 2 of your own personal units.
Okay,
Yeah, and those can be located wherever.
one's gonna be an office for a bit.
Yeah, I'll go with, do you wanna follow up on that?
Yes.
Go ahead, Councilor Chris.
So do you sell trailers too, or?
No, we just do service and repair.
So there will be no,
Yeah, so it's 8 to 5, not weekends. There isn't guys running up and down the road at 2 o'clock in the morning or anything like that. And as long as I know everybody will be respectful on, how fast they come up and down the road. But that's it, it's just repair the trailer. And if they can come and get it, especially, the only time it becomes sticky is when the snow comes.
Okay, Councilor Push.
Just through administration, given this is 2 lots essentially that we're looking at, one business and kind of the home and the other one, does that affect the CRB, just given that we're talking about 2 lots and not one?
Sure. Through the chair to Councillor Trish. So under our land use bylaw, because right now the lots are under separate title, and that's why we have a condition that they be amalgamated together. However, given the acquisition of the lots and of the one lot, Mr. Stocks is just running into some issue with the banks in order to be able to amalgamate the 2 into one. And that's why we've placed it as a condition, because we are aware that he's working on that. So we've got a condition that, and then it will certainly conform, because then he's got his residence and his business
And that
as
will all be
one lot.
Just as a follow to that, but, say theoretically, we have the business, it sounds like currently being developed or whatever in the one right now, and the home on the other one there that's being renovated, if financially or something with the bank falls through, and we have the business going on one and we don't, like just theoretical, but say we lose the one and we only have the one, how does that play out then? If we have a business and a shop being developed in one area because you don't have the residential aspect for a CRB.
So through our conditions, if they're not meeting essentially the conditions of the development permit, then we can issue a stop order and have the operation cease, yeah.
And I'd have to put a dwelling on the.
Or
Yeah,
he place a
it would
dwelling
have
on
to
the
go
other
there.
parcel, correct?
We're being there for so long without a dwelling already.
If I may, the previous applicant had applied for a residence on 2 separate occasions in which the Municipal Planning Commission had granted him a time frame, and subsequently he has in turn not followed through on that and has sold it, so.
Yes, go ahead.
Just wanted to note, because I know with some of the concerns about, that were raised just in regard to the property, it was covered under number 19 in the storage compound, keeping or storing abandoned, wrecked, dismantled, unlicensed, or inoperative vehicles, RVs, or parts, including tires, rims, shall be prohibited from accumulating on site. So I just wanted to note that one because I felt that should hopefully address some concerns that people had about unsightly premises.
Oh yeah, we don't want it unsightly, and anything that we do get that we've got a couple that were given to us, RVs, to be stripped down, and I'd rather strip them, take the windows out, save them, and then be able to sell them to somebody else or give them to somebody else. So and then the refuge and that's gonna end up going where it deserves to go, right? steel goes into into steel recycling, you know, and it just, that's the way we've always been, so.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry, go
Just
ahead,
a-
yes.
I just have a follow-up to that. Just want to clarify that there won't be any a significant amount of storage on site for steel recycling and that kind of type
No,
of thing?
No, like I
Okay.
say, there's 1 or 2 trailers we have right now, and while we're doing the other things, those are the ones we stripped down.
Right, okay, thank you.
Just a question, is it something that we could put in the conditions that having some kind of fence that hides some of that? Like,
It's already got about an 8-foot fence by, how long is that fence?
It
Well, I-
Significant along the one border.
yeah,
is listed in the
There is a
conditions.
thing there that if, yeah,
but what kind of fence are we saying? Like, I'm just, from what I see, like, when you're talking the planter trailers,
yeah.
and there's
what
a
I did
couple,
is-
like, it's not really attractive in the neighborhood, right? So,
Well,
I'm
yeah, and I
just,
got 6 logging trucks right behind me, you know, and that's what I'm saying, like, for what I see, it looks pretty clean, but that's totally up to you guys.
Yeah.
Right? I did have, Brakeman planted 270 trees along the boundaries already. That was just after this season, but they're just little saplings, right?
I also do think it has to get worse to get better. There's
Oh, well,
a
at
point
the
to
beginning,
being
it's
up, yeah.
so what kind of, how many, I know that the person that wrote the letter said that up to 40, so what's your answer? Like, I know you're talking about
Is
working
that
on these
including
trailers.
the Brakeman trailers, or is that just the stuff that's working on that, like?
That I can't answer, that was just a letter written by one of the residents, so.
Um,
It says there's at least 25 trailers on the property right now, with at least another 40 moving in, is what it says.
I don't think so. We've gotten rid of everything that was on the lot that belonged to people in storage and that, to where we are up at this location. So no, I think there might be only about 12 trailers there at the start. And I'm not gonna bring any more in until the addition's done.
Councilor Crestwich.
Through the chair to Joan. Is there something we can put in the condition for weed control? Because your yard here is full of weeds.
Oh, yeah, we don't want that.
No. So there has to be something in the conditions that weed control must be done.
Through the chair to Councillor Prestige, definitely. We've put that on other conditions. It's one we generally place on like our gravel extraction permits and things like that. So yeah, you could add a condition with respect to that. And our orderly and unsightly condition is in there as well.
Okay, and I think if I can kind of sum up people's concerns here is, what people are concerned about is the intensity of what's going on.
I have one
Just-
apprentice.
Just let me
Sorry.
finish. And I think when I say intensity, we're talking about what's the number of trailers that are gonna be there, and what's the intensity on the operation. Because to my understanding, the CRB was meant to originally be a live with your small business type of idea. And then I think this was an error on our part in the past, was the amount of logging trucks, and typically a small business in Alberta means you're gonna have trucks and trailers, typically. So a lot of people were looking for areas they could bring in trucks and trailers. At the time, the council then had to limit down 6, and then I think 4 is our limit now? So 4 is our limit now, and you can permit it up to 6, is that right?
No, max of 4.
Max is 4, that's it. So, and the reason that was happening, that big problem was going on, is the reason was that the tri-drag trucks and things like that, they were saying, well, the trucks are ruining the road. It wasn't actually the trucks ruining the road, it was us not having a piece of infrastructure up to standard for what we zoned it for, or what it got zoned for. So if it was gonna be zoned for that kind of intensity, it should have been brought up to, the road should have been brought up to a better standard. so that the residents wouldn't have to put up with that kind of damage to the roads. Again, I don't wanna blame the trucks because, you know, you're allowing that kind of development. So how many trailers are we talking about so that we can put people's minds at ease? And I think if there was a number that was in there rather than an area, I think that's what people are concerned about, from what I can understand anyways.
Maximum trailers throughout the winter, not including that Brinkman stuff, is maybe if we're lucky 20, if that.
So I'm sorry, the Brinkman stuff, that's
Well, the
the,
Brinkman stuff's that stuff that's in the storage. They've got 2 kitchens, or no, 3 kitchens, 3 shower units.
They're kind of like an ACO trailer.
so it's a
kind of
camp?
More modified, yeah.
It's a camp, it's
Yeah,
exactly 3
exactly.
camps worth of trailers. And then, of course, this year I kind of got stuck with their little ones that weren't supposed to be left there.
Right.
And they won't be there next year.
So, sorry, how many trailers are in the camp then, in the camps that you have there?
In each camp, there's 1, 2, and 2 decks, so 5 trailers on each.
On each?
Yeah, or sorry, 2 flat decks, kitchen, so a kitchen, a shower, what they call a garbage trailer, which is just a little guy, and then 2 decks, so, yeah, it'd be 5 trailers in each, so that's 15 trailers right there.
So you've got 15 trailers and then you wanna run another 20 beyond that?
Yeah, not there, and the other stuff going in and out will be 20. Like I say, the worst case scenario would be, over the winter, would be maybe 20 trailers.
Yeah.
Plus a Brinkman.
Yes.
So we're still at 35 trailers.
Yeah, I guess.
So you have to count it because it's there.
Oh, right, I keep, in my brain, I keep thinking of the 2 as,
Yeah.
you know, the storage as being separate, but it's not, because the only reason why they are there is because we work on them over the winter.
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify, because when I was reading through this, like, we're looking at RVs and an RV repair business, but these are camp-style trailers that are also there that you're talking
Some
about?
are, yes, yes.
So I'm just wondering about essentially the difference there because of the mobility, because those camp trailers don't have wheels, is that correct?
No, they all have wheels, yeah, they
Okay,
all have wheels.
so they're not ones that are loaded on a flat deck?
No. We have 2, the property had one 53-foot CCAN, which we're gonna use in the addition build. And then we had a 40-foot. Brinkman has their 40-foot, which I kind of made a boundary so that, you know, that you don't really get to see, you know, all of their stuff. So, and then we had our own personal CCAN, which is full of our furniture.
But they're not a licensed RV as per the condition that is listed here then so far?
Well, they're a record. RVs are such a funny thing because of the fact that they're governed under Transport Canada, but they're really houses or showers or, you know, it's a recreational vehicle, right?
Right.
These are trailers, mobile trailers. They have offices, that kind of stuff. They rent their offices, but.
I'm gonna recognize Councilor Prestwich.
So out of the 35 trailers, whether they're being worked on or not, you're still storing them?
Those ones there for.
No, just let me finish.
Okay.
You're still storing them. Whether they're Brickmans or customers' trailers that you're working on through the winter, you're still storing them for your customers. Are these 35 trailers gonna fit in a 1-acre parcel? Because that's what it is you're storing them.
So the ones that we work on that come. those are stored.
Everything
Okay.
that's a trailer there or,
And how big is a 1-acre parcel, sorry?
We'll go to the land people, cause,
I don't even have that math that I have to calculate it.
About 200 by 200
200 meters?
feet.
Feet?
We're old school.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that'd be about right.
yeah. So
So
what
that's
I'm
about-
getting at is the Brickman trailers will probably take up the 1 acre. And then
Yeah.
you're gonna have 35 or 20 other trailers sitting on your land. And that's what residents are concerned about. The way I look at it, you can't have it both ways. You get 1 acre of storage And that is for Brickman and your,
And the work that we're doing,
yes.
yeah, okay. That would be that property. I think the gravel area on the top property is 200 by 200 feet, I think.
'Cause I took some pictures of it today, and I think we're pretty much there with the Brickman stuff.
On 2 acres? Or no?
1 acre.
Yeah, it's 60 by 100 is what, because I've got a boundary in between the Quonset and I put some red things there. And then they're 60, so what? 60 feet over, and then I think they're 100 feet long. I crunch them in there pretty tight for those guys.
What I'm trying to say is, if you get 1 acre storage, you have to limit yourself to the amount of trailers that are gonna fit in a 1 acre parcel.
All purpose is to try and revolve them and get them out. It's not really to be storing them,
Well, it doesn't matter, you're bringing them there to work on.
right?
It could be springtime before you get finished it, so you're storing them.
Yeah.
Which has to fit in the 1 acre parcel.
So are we suggesting I should ask for a bit more? I don't know. Like, I don't wanna be in the storage business. These are just the things that come in and get fixed and then they go out.
Yeah, I know, and, you know, again, we're trying to strike a balance between,
Yeah.
and even when a business develops within, the idea of CRB in my head is it's a business incubator or a small business type of development. You know, you're running a couple of service trucks, you've got a couple of log trucks, you're not necessarily running the whole company out of there, and storing intensive equipment storage and things like that. So I think that's my concern, and I'm leaning towards a site visit on this, but go
That's-
ahead, please.
Thank you, because that was my concern too, is that, like, my understanding, the country residential business is having, you know, a couple, log trucks, and so they have a driver in their own self, maybe another driver, come a shift changer, if their trucks are even there, but being an RV certified business, you're gonna have people there coming and going all the time picking up parts, right?
I don't think there'll be
Okay,
as
so
much as
people
they
are gonna buy parts from you as well, like they do
Yes.
here, right?
We hope, but it won't be to that extent.
But there's still gonna be a lot more traffic, because you're gonna have customers coming.
Just so that we keep things cordial, direct comments
I'm
from the
sorry.
chair, please.
Yeah. So I guess that's my concern, as a resident seeing a lot higher volume of traffic, which is, maybe doesn't quite fit in the country residential business.
Okay.
That's just my thought.
I've got 2 sets of hands up. I'm gonna go with administration first and then I'll get to you. Go ahead.
Through the chair, just to Ms. Mitchell, I guess it would be no different than perhaps our commercial businesses such as a greenhouse business. You know, you get that summer traffic where you've got several movements per day.
Okay, good point, thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just
No,
to
thank you.
clarify
Yep.
that, you know, and greenhouse is a permitted use here too, so whether it be, you know, it's hard to judge, but yeah, there's gonna be definitely traffic in this instance coming to that. But in country residential, we've got greenhouses that have been approved and where we've got, you know, significant volumes of traffic going to that particular area. To date, we haven't had too much as far as kickback or complaints derived from it. In this instance, the summer months, if with the traffic concern, we have put that, you know, the responsibility of putting some dust control down for residents that are in the area. And again, if it becomes a concern, you know, we try to work with the developer.
Thanks for those comments.
I'm gonna go with Patricia and then Councilor Copeland.
Through the chair, essentially, actually, that was part of what I was thinking of as well, as a hair salon, for example, may still have, you know, a number of clientele coming back and forth year-round. And also I wanna, really like the idea of these CRBs and that we're expanding them to not just be logging trucks and having all different types of businesses that can still support residential housing. That being said, I hope we can find a way that you can make this work and stay within the parameters of that 1 acre parcel, because I do think that residents want to be ensured that that 1 acre parcel is that portion, that's the storage, and then the rest is residence, and it's not spread across the property. And then, like you said, you have your trees and the fencing as it allows. So within the confines of these conditions, but if it's like I said, a site visit might be definitely a good route to go.
And to be fair, I think you might be caught a little bit in the, because if I get this property right, I think we had it's got a bit of a history, so.
And that's what I'm finding out.
You might be unfairly saddled with a little bit of some of the history around that, so I want to make sure that we're not unfairly putting that on you, but Councillor Kulkin.
I think there's the other side of this as well, is that the residents that are currently out there bought property in a zoned area that was zoned to actually be what it is. And so in some ways, I have to say to our admin, you've done the job making sure that our applicant has applied in accordance with that criteria, which these folks know. So the conditions really are making this so that all of the mitigation that we think is necessary at this point in time is being done. And so I really have an issue with complaints about traffic and all of those things, because this is an area that if you were to see all of those residents around there develop something, it would increase for everybody. So anytime that there's a change there, there's going to be pushback, and we understand that. So, a site visit would be fine. I think that would definitely give us a better idea of what the gentleman is bringing to the table. And I think that the conditions are ones that, when you get complaints, you can say, okay, is this a condition because it was put there. So I don't really have a big problem with this.
Okay. Councillor Prestige?
Yes, my concern is this permit is for 1.05 acres for storage, and that's what we have to go with. And I think the applicant has to understand that is for total storage on these properties. By bringing a trailer in fall and not working on it for 3 months, still classifies as storage. So they all have to fit in that 1.05 acres.
So, go ahead.
So this is where I'm kind of I don't understand quite on where the storage part is going, because I'm looking at them as things coming in and going out. Yes, our jobs happen to be, or my utensils that I have to work on are big. They're not, so the jobs can take anywhere from 1 week to 2 weeks. Some are days, some are months. But that's what we're trying to do, is neck down that we don't have the shop capacity to be able to do that. There is be able to do the longer jobs anymore, right? So we don't do, a lot of the traffic that we get now over here, 90% of it is U-Haul, which we are not doing out there. So they're gone. So realistically, we have, how do I say it? We have service parts, bearings, that kind of stuff. We bring in the stuff that we use in the shop. We don't normally stock a bunch of miscellaneous stuff. So the traffic part, I'm not gonna see them very much. And a lot of those people that are, from town here buying bearings, it doesn't make sense to go out there to buy bearings when you can do it right here.
I'm going to recognize Councillor
Through the
Prestige.
chair
and then,
to the applicant.
Sure.
What I'm getting at is you could fill up the 1 acre with the Brickman stuff. and have 40 customer trailers sitting in your yard all over the place. And that's what the residents don't want, your neighbors. So maybe it's something that you have to do is coordinate with your customers to bring their trailers in when you could work on. Because if you're bringing them in fall and keeping them over the winter so you can work on them, technically you're storing them for them.
No, I understand that. And that's something we don't want to do. We want people to come and pick their trailers up as soon as they're done. With me and having one apprentice, possibly a second guy, we're not gonna be bringing in 40 trailers to do a bunch of work on because it'll never get done.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with, Tricia, go ahead.
Through the chair, I was just thinking that with everything that's in that 1 acre parcel as storage, if the other CRBs, say for example, have a limit of 4 logging trucks or 4 logging truck trailers, then would it be beneficial then to define what these trailers are that are outside of the storage area that you're working on, for example, as 4? So that would give you your storage area and then a maximum of 4 trailers that you're currently working on that are around the shop area that wouldn't be confined in that area. And then it would give you the ability to move those back and forth and still live in the confines of these conditions.
Yeah, that's, I've been used to doing it this way, right? And that's, like I say, when we have such a big shop, we could bring 3 or 4 in at the same time and work on them and dry them out, but we don't have that opportunity out there, right? So it's a 40 by 80 shop, so, you know, you're lucky to get 2 trailers. You'll get 2 trailers in there, 1 long-term job and a bunch of short ones, I'm hoping. So the purpose is to only bring them out there when they need to be worked. Most of my work is hopefully gonna be not at the location, but I'm gonna be going and going to the campgrounds and that and helping on service calls.
Okay. Councilor Preston.
Downsizing.
Through the chair to the applicant again. When you first came in, you stated that you would be bringing customers' trailers in and working on them through the winter and then pick them up in spring.
Am I to answer or?
Well, you did state that when you came in.
Oh, yes, I said on some instances when the snow hits, it's hard for us to tell them to take their trailer, right? At that time. If that's what we have to do, then that's what we have to do. As soon as it's done, it goes.
Okay, is there a way we can schedule a site visit on this? Cause I'm trying to, and there's a good point around the traffic intensity in different businesses and different makeup and everything. I just wanna make sure that if we do an approval on this, and I honestly don't know which way to go on this at the moment. And part of that is because if we had a logger come in or somebody operating a trucking business and they wanted 2 more trailers on, we'd say no. And if they are operating a business with, say, 6 trailers, and one of them ends up on the lot under repair, and we see 5 trailers on there, well, then they're outside their permits, to my understanding. So I'm just trying to wrap my head around being fair to everybody around these development guidelines, and if there's something we have to change within those guidelines, or I shouldn't say change, but better define what was intended here. So I think a site visit would help a lot. And if I get you right, the type of trailers that you're working on aren't so much RVs, motorhomes, things like that we're kind of used to. It's more industrial camp type equipment.
Not always,
is it not, or?
Sorry.
No, I'm just trying to get an idea.
I have those, the Brinkman Reinforced Station, they're the only ones that have the camp systems.
Okay.
That's it. Everybody else is travel trailers, little flat decks.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask admin, is there a way we can schedule a site visit? We can,
Certainly.
What would the board think of that?
Only valuable.
Okay, so, just so I get the motion structurally correct, I'll go ahead and make it. Do we table this application until, or sorry, postpone the approval until a site visit can be scheduled?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So that would be the motion then, to postpone the application, the approval of the application until we get a site visit scheduled. Sorry, our CAO has our,
Decision of
the decision of the,
application.
the decision of the application, yeah, to postpone the decision of the application until a site visit is carried out. Is there any discussion on that? All in favor? Any opposed? So that's carried. So it's not a yes, it's not a no, it's just, we just wanna make sure we know what we're looking at.
Right.
And I went ahead and made the motion to kind of take the heat off everybody, so I guess I'm the one that,
Well, I'm, either way, like, because we already bought the property and we've been discussing with everything else, like, you know, there's a lot more to it now than just the plan, so are we able to set up a time for the site visit?
we'll be setting it up as soon as we possibly can, yeah.
Because I'm under a time frame at where I am now for October 1st, so.
I understand that, and
Yeah, that's fine,
yeah.
it is what it is.
Okay, that'll bring us to, I leave my glasses back on here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bring us to development permit application 1553-2022 farm and subsidiary operation. And as soon as my screen loads again, gosh, the internet's so slow, it makes me want to get up and push today. Peter?
So this is for application 15053-2022. The parcel consists of a 121.49 acres with the legal description of Part Northwest 5, 5710, west of the 5th. The application is for a discretionary use farm subsidiary operation with lodging establishment. The application is for a lodging establishment in conjunction with the operation of a U-Pick. There will also be on-site sales at a less regular rate. The applicant is in attendance and it is zoned as A2. The retail storefront is considered discretionary use as defined by our land use bylaws and is required to come to Municipal Planning Commission to consider a decision for the proposed use. It was referred to our infrastructure department with no comments and advertised in the paper and no letters of concern were received. It is my recommendation that the Municipal Planning Commission approve development permit 15053-2022 for a farm subsidiary operation with lodging establishment minor with the following conditions. And would anyone like me to read those?
Anyone wish the conditions read? No? Okay, we don't need the conditions read. Any questions to administration? I saw a hand up, so I'm gonna recognize you, sir.
I just want to know what the conditions are, because I haven't seen them.
Oh, you haven't seen that?
So yes, you want the red. No worries.
Well, just get an iPad, spend an hour logging in, and then you can get it.
Are there lots of them? We can go offline if that's possible.
You know what, since I mean, we've got one more item, what do we got?
I'll give you that.
Oh, then I can get in touch with the permitting office to get those conditions. And
Do you want me to read them?
Just moving quickly, yeah.
Let's do it. No problem. Minimum setback requirements from the property lines are as followed. From the front yard, it's 10.7 meters north, rear yard 7.6 meters south, and side yards 10.7 meters east and 6.0 meters west. Should comply with the conditions of the Safety Codes Council and obtain the following permits where required: building permit, plumbing and gas permit, septic permit, electrical permit, fire code permit. Shall obtain a burning permit from Alberta Forest Service for any burning undertaking. Shall apply for provincial permits from Alberta Health Services. Shall contact the county's infrastructure department regarding road bans and overload and road use permits. Shall remove garbage and waste at developer's expense and keep site in clean and orderly manner. Siting of buildings near overhead power lines shall comply with the conditions of Alberta Electrical Protection Act and the local power company. Shall be located 30 meters from any slope of more than 30% grade and shall be 30 meters from the top of bank of watercourse. The display of placement or placement of signage on the premise of the home occupation shall be restricted to one identification sign no larger than 3 feet by 4 feet in the area. All signs shall be kept in safe, clean, and tidy condition and may be required to be renovated or removed and not maintained, if not maintained properly. Shall obtain approval from Woodlands County Infrastructure Department for any directional signage along county roads. Shall comply with the conditions of the Regional Health Unit Authority and obtain any required permits. Any vehicles parked on-site or off-site as a result of the development shall, in the opinion of the Development Authority, not be a source of inconvenience to adjacent landowners or tenants. If at any time any of the requirements for the development have not, or in the opinion of the Development Authority, been complied with, the Development Authority may suspend or cancel development permit for the farm subsidiary pursuant to the provisions of the Municipal Government Act. Maintain the site and building structures and improvements therein in a clean condition, tidy, and attractive condition, and free from any all rubbish and debris. Maintain garbage to the satisfaction of Development Authority. Maintain an appropriate fence where required around the boundaries of the site and shall landscape and keep the site well maintained. The Development Authority may require a letter of guarantee or an irrevocable letter of credit in order to secure performance of the fencing or landscaping requirements. No commodity other than the product or service of the retail storefront shall be sold on the premises. The development shall not, in the opinion of the Development Authority, be a source of inconvenience materially interfere with or affect the use, enjoyment, or value of neighborhood properties by way of excessive noise, smoke, steam, odor, dust, vibration, or refuse matter which would not commonly be found in the neighborhood. There shall be no mechanical or electrical equipment which creates visible, audible, or electrical interference with radio or television reception for adjacent neighbors. Adequate space shall be maintained on site for loading, unloading, pickup, or deliveries of commodities to the satisfaction of Development Authority. No further development, expansion, or change in use is permitted unless prior written approval is obtained from Woodlands County.
Thank you.
Okay. Councilor Cush.
Two things. One, to administration, we're doing the minutes or numbering on there is a little off. We got 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and it goes back 15, 16, 17 for conditions.
Okay, good to know. Okay.
And just through the applicant, under the application says multiple non-permanent structures. I'm just wondering what we got like cabins or wagons or whatever. Wagons.
Yeah, so some of you may have seen our wagons either in for the open farm days or they may appear in some of the other publications. We brought in basically an old-fashioned ranching wagons and we repurpose them for the purpose of lodging. So they will house maybe 2 people at most and they'll be placed around the property as far away from each other as possible.
Go ahead, Patricia.
Through the chair to the applicant, just curious about what the plan is for sewage and so on, like, is it just outhouses that you would have to go with the wagons?
So currently we are providing outhouses and we are planning to build in the, yeah, no. Basically, they will be compostable toilets, and so all the refuse will be removed from site and or properly disposed of.
Any other questions? What kind of berries?
Haskaps, currants, cherries, and Saskatoons.
Okay,
That's great.
all right. Councillor Culkin.
Yeah, I'll make the motion that we go with the recommendation that we approve the development permit 15053-2022 for a farm subsidiary operation with lodging establishment minor with the following conditions which have been read and the corrections that need to be applied to it.
Okay, motion on the floor from Councillor Culkin. Any discussion on the motion? I see no hands, so I'll call the question. All in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. So, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for adding some new things to our community.
We are trying.
Thanks for letting
I
us.
hope you're very successful.
Yeah.
We look forward to the berries.
Come visit us.
Good luck.
Thanks
for coming. Okay, so that'll bring us to 7.1 information items, and these are permits that are approved by the development officer. Are there any questions or anything on these items? Nothing?
It's been a while.
There's quite a few.
Go
I'll
ahead.
make a motion to approve information items as presented.
Thank you. Any discussion on that motion? All in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. That new business, we're empty, and at the next meeting, we don't have one required at this time. Administration will advise when there's a meeting required. And there is a meeting required because we're gonna be doing a site visit very quickly. Do we wanna do this scheduling for a site visit now? Joan?
We can. It's probably easier if we're all in the same room.
I think it's best that we do that schedule for the site visit now, so we'll pull out some calendars.
Boy.
Yeah. Let's drive up there tomorrow.
What's the soonest that we can do a site visit?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Okay,
Sooner
I
the
can't
better.
do tomorrow.
I can't do Friday.
And unfortunately,
Friday.
I'm probably gone from the 24th to the 1st.
If you can believe it, I'm talking about caribou for 3 days in Edmonton at the beginning of next week.
Only 3 days?
Only 3, well, that excludes the 9 that we did previous to this. So my first day would, yeah, my first day would be the 29th, which is a Thursday, in the later morning or early afternoon.
So we have regional solid waste at 2:00.
Right.
He said he had with the banks or something, a timeline coming up. Would you recall what his deadline was?
I don't.
October 1st.
October
Yeah,
1st.
that was October 1st.
October 1st?
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing is it really necessary that every one of us need to be there?
Exactly.
That's the question, because
Yeah.
I think that, a couple of the site visit, three of us that are able to go to the site visit would
Yeah.
probably be able to assess that.
Okay, who can handle well, let's start on it then. Who can handle tomorrow?
I can go tomorrow.
Earlier the better.
You can go tomorrow
Afternoon.
afternoon?
Yeah, I can do afternoon as well.
Can't do morning? No.
Later the better, but afternoon.
Okay. We can schedule it for tomorrow afternoon, if that works. What's afternoon, 3?
Anything after 12?
3 sounds good.
Let's not get technical.
Is that the earliest you can do is 3?
I could do 2. I could make 2 work. 3 is better, but I could make 2 work. So,
The earlier for me, the better.
okay.
Is 2 o'clock okay with everybody? 2 o'clock?
Because it's not gonna take us that long, I'm sure.
So there's only 2 that can't make it, that's not bad, actually.
Yeah, I
Okay.
can't.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion that we schedule a site visit then on development application 15051-2022 for tomorrow at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Tomorrow being
22nd.
September 22nd. Any discussion on that? All
We
in
just-
favor?
We just meet out there, or?
What's the legal, logistics, that's what I was trying to think.
If everybody, how many have we got?
2, 3,
So 3? 4?
5.
5?
You got 5 plus admin,
I'll just meet you out there.
well,
Yeah.
4 plus admin, sorry.
Because I was gonna say, the Durango could be used to, and what can we take? 2, 4, 5?
Yeah, if they want squish.
I can meet you guys out there too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I think that's probably best, is go ahead and meet at the office, get everybody together, and then there's no confusion getting it. Is everyone okay to come to the office, or is it easier to just meet there? So they know-
It'd be-
Right out there.
Yeah, me too, because I'm gonna take off right after that, so.
Okay.
Okay, then I can meet you guys at the office. I'll be at the shop anyway, I'm sure.
Sure.
Meet more at the business, well, we'll see you out there with your business centers.
Okay,
You're not?
North end.
you can
I
liaise
have an
with,
appointment at
with
2:30.
admin on it.
Cancel.
Oh, okay.
As to who's gonna meet where.
You can
We'll
have
take
it.
it from there.
Okay.
After that site visit, then we'll probably have to schedule another MPC meeting, correct?
Yes.
Let's
Did we
get
want
this-
to maybe do that now,
Do you
too?
wanna do that now? We can.
Yeah,
Let's
it's gonna
go
be
ahead
off
and
of
do
our
that now,
normal
and then
schedule,
we'll-
but, rather than have him wait longer.
Okay. Don't tell me you want an MPC meeting on Friday, okay?
No.
No, we can't.
No.
Illegal.
What about, is it possible to do it right after the site visit?
Like tomorrow evening? Or tomorrow right after? Joan, you're not here.
Well, I just need to record, yeah.
It's up to you.
Can we do it there? I mean, we just gotta discuss it, right? Like what,
Well, we have to call the meeting
Call me, it's gonna
back
be
to
recorded
order
too.
and,
Yeah, just-
yeah.
There's-
Has to
And then-
be
Yeah.
online?
Can everybody
Yeah.
meet tomorrow after?
24-hour notice?
Tracy's got something.
I can stay, but just the sooner I can leave, the better.
Okay.
So what are we thinking? 20?
Does it need to be streamed? I'm not sure of the rules on that.
Yes. There's that.
I think
too.
everything has to be streamed.
Everything needs to be streamed.
Streamed, according with our new policy.
Does the meeting have to be posted for anybody else to attend? Neighbors, anything like that, where it's been suspended? Or the decision has been postponed?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Does the meeting have to be re-advertised where the decision has been postponed? For neighbors or anybody who wanted to?
Yes, it's gotta be 24 hours notice, right?
Mhm.
If you're reconvening the MPC meeting, yes.
Yeah.
Right, only because the fact that, you postponed your decision, so you can do your site inspection, have the meeting at the site if you want, you just have to give notice.
Yeah.
But because of the fact that you're over 24 hours, you should, give notice.
Under.
So if that's the case, should we do it the following day?
That would be the Friday?
I'm going.
Yeah,
As
Friday.
long as you have quorum.
Yeah, the Friday is the only day I'm available in the afternoon, but,
Staff's not available.
okay. And then I'm out of town until the 29th, which is Thursday. But-
If it's just for a decision.
If it's just for a decision, you don't necessarily need me.
And people can attend virtually too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
if they're-
Yeah, I could jump
if
in
they're
for a
able.
virtual.
Yeah. So, are we talking-
So, okay, well, that, basically, this week's out, so 22nd, 23rd, 22nd's the visit, 23rd is out, right?
Mhm.
So that leaves us 26, 27, and 28. And I could go virtual in there somewhere, I could jump out of where I'm at and go virtual, so what, who's good for the 26th?
I can do
What
virtual.
time of the day have you got?
At some point, at this, we'll narrow it down.
Yeah.
Morning, or, so 26th?
Twenty-six, that'd be okay.
Yeah, I'm good. 26.
Always just before 6.
You can do it in the morning on Friday, till 11.
Yeah,
So you can't,
I don't think, yeah. John, are you available Friday morning?
Well, sorry,
Virtually?
yeah, Friday morning I could do it.
I can't, I'll be
No,
driving.
you're gone.
The 26th is actually looking pretty good by our standards here, and we're only losing one working day, so
Yeah.
by doing
Yeah.
that. I know there's a weekend in there, but it's only
Yeah.
one banking / working day, so, who doesn't work for the, so 26th Monday we can do, does 10 AM work?
Sure.
10 AM? Okay,
I'm gone.
you're gone? Okay, well, 10 AM works for me, just give me a straw vote here, 10 AM, Monday morning.
There you have quorum.
We got everybody except one, so that's,
Yep.
I think that's as
And
good as it's
virtual's
gonna go.
okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Virtual's okay.
So, we'll, I'll go ahead and make the motion to reconvene the MPC on that development permit application 15051-2022 on the 26th of September at 10 AM with a virtual option as well. Any discussion on that motion? All in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. And we're at adjournment. Counselor Kush.
Make the motion to adjourn.
Okay, motion to adjourn. There's no debate on that. All in favor?
6:16.
Any opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.